Hey guys, welcome back. I think you can barely see my notes right at the very bottom of this video, and we were just finishing up with the final answer of 2/11. And I was gonna say, I'm gonna have this video up for you, okay? And when you're done with our notes, writing them down, before you do the practice with me, you might wanna just stop this video, go watch this kind of cutesy video to give you some tips, and then come back to me and this video, and we will work out some practice problems. So I'm going to pause and give you a chance to go watch that video. All right, guys, I hope you found the video to be kind of silly, but it has that kind of keep change flip vibe to it so that you remember your process. The first example that would be in your Pear Deck, if you happen to have the Pear Deck open, is going to be 3/4 divided by 7/10. So if you feel like it, go ahead and pause this video, stop it, and take a chance to try to work it by yourself. And then when you're ready, press play, and I'll be here and I'll work out the problem for you. So when you're ready, here we go. I wrote the problem down, and then the next step is to rewrite it and to remember to keep this the same, change this to multiplication, and make this the reciprocal. I don't know that I'm going to write that down every time, but in the beginning, I find it helpful. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3/4 times, and I'm going to try the dot this time, okay? And I'm going to take these and I'm going to reverse their locations so that it says 10/7. So I did my second step was to rewrite it in this new format. And then now I'm going to go into my multiplication rules that say, find that bikini, everybody. Use your eyes, and do you see any common factors? And guys, I do. I see this denominator and this numerator, and I see that they're both even numbers. And I know that all even numbers are divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide those both by 2. So awesome if you already got that. This is going to become a 5, and this is going to become a 2. And as part of my steps, I like us to rewrite the problem now so that it doesn't become confusing. And I'm just going to double check, is there another bikini, another numerator and denominator that share a common factor? And what I'm looking at is a whole bunch of prime numbers, and prime numbers only have 1 in themselves to divide out. So none of these have a common factor. So that tells me I'm ready for the next step of numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator, so that this would end up being 15 over 14. And that is a great answer, although it is not in its proper form. It's considered to be an improper fraction because I can see that my numerator is larger than my denominator. And we have learned, let the 15 fall inside and pop the 14 up, and let's go ahead and do some division. Well, I want to skip count by 14s, but I'm very fortunate because there's only one 14 and 15, okay, inside of it. And I'm going to take that 14 away, and I'm going to have a remainder of 1. Now, I could add a decimal and a 0, but I'm not going to because I'm not working with decimals today. Today, I'm working with mixed numbers, fractions, those kind of things. So this 1 whole goes here. The 1 remainder goes in the numerator, and my denominator is going to remain this 14. So hopefully you also got 1 and 1/14 for the quotient of 3/4 divided by 7/10. If you would like to pause, you may. I'm going to draw a line. I'm just in my spiral, guys. I hope you guys noticed that I'm just on the other side. And I have the next problem ready. I'm going to take it off of my computer screen, 1/4 divided by 9/10. And I'm going to write it down. My next step is to change it into an equivalent math problem, okay, by keeping the 1/4 the same, by changing the division to multiplication, and by taking that 9/10 and finding its reciprocal. Go ahead and try to say that word. It's kind of a fun word to say, reciprocal. And I just exchange the location of the numerator and the denominator, and then now I'm ready to see if there's something to cross simplify. And I have to giggle because this 4 and this 10 are in this problem just like they were in this problem. I love that when that happens because I start to learn and kind of remember things and I go, okay, I've already done that. I know these are divisible by 2s and I know that this is going to become a 5 and this is going to become a 2. Does that happen every time? No, but it's sure cool when it does. It makes it very helpful. So I'm going to rewrite the problem and it's going to come out to 1/2 multiplied by 5/9. And I'm going to look here and say, is there something else, is there something that they share? And 5 and 2 at least are prime numbers. And they don't have anything in common. And with 1, the only thing that you could get in common is a 1. And dividing a 1 out is not helpful. So we are done. We are so ready to multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. And this one is going to become 5/18. And I feel very fortunate because the 5 is smaller than the 18, which means it is a proper fraction. And there's nothing extra I have to do. So the quotient of 1/4 divided by 9/10 is 5/18. Okay, I'm going to draw another line. I'm going to go into my Pear Deck and I'm going to take another problem off of my screen and I'm going to write it down. And this problem happens to say 2/3 divided by 4, the whole number 4. Again, if you want to pause, please pause the video. Try this problem. Go for it. I know you can do it. And let's see what happens. When you're ready, press play and I'll be here and I'm going to work it out. So in this problem, first thing I would do is add that 1, and I would make that whole number into a fraction by saying 4 divided by 1. Now I'm going to continue with keep this the same. Change this to multiplication, it's a pattern, and give this the reciprocal. The reciprocal is simply when you exchange the numerator and the denominator, okay? I'm going to be looking for that common factor. And I can see that 2 and 4 are even, so I'm going to be dividing out 2s. And I know that this becomes a 1 and this becomes a 2. And I'm going to see that 1, 1, 3, and 2. Well, 3 and 2 are prime numbers, so they don't share anything. And it wouldn't matter because 3 and 2 are both denominators, okay? And if I look up at the numerators, those 1s aren't helpful. So I'm going to just recopy the problem as 1/3 times 1/2. And we are ready to multiply numerator times numerator, which is 1, and denominator times denominator, which is 6. And again, 1/6 is like this guy. It has a smaller numerator, which means it is a proper fraction, and we do not have to worry about the division. We can just leave our answer as 1/6. I have one more problem I'd like to do if you have time. I'm going to take this one off of the Pear Deck, okay? And so it says 2 and 1/3, and I'm going to divide that by 5/6. Well, this is nothing we covered in today's notes, but I do remember that I am going to have to change this to an improper fraction for any kind of multiplication problems. And I'm learning that this division is going to turn into a multiplication problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by taking 2 and 1/3 and making it an improper fraction. And if you remember from last class, what we did is we said, okay, if I have 2 whole pizzas and I cut them into thirds, it's going to be 2 times 3. And 2 times 3 is 6 pieces of pizza. But don't forget you have this extra slice that you're going to add. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So this becomes 7/3 divided by 5/6. Now when I have fractions, I can change it to keep this the same, change this to multiplication, and flip this fraction to its reciprocal. So now I'm going to actually determine the answer of 2 1/3 divided by 5/6 using this math problem here, and I'm going to say I found a bikini. Those are the same number, which means they're both divisible by itself, which means they're both going to just turn into ones. When I study this, I see that 7 and 5 are what we call prime numbers, which means they're only divisible by themselves in 1. And since they're not the same, there's nothing else I can do. So I'm going to rewrite this as 7 over 1 times 1 over 5. And I am ready to multiply. Look at that, super easy. 7 times 1 is 7, and 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, I wish I was fully done, but I'm noticing that this numerator is bigger than that denominator. So that 7 is going to fall into the division, and that 5 is going to pop up. 5 can go into 7 one time, and I'm going to subtract and have a remainder of 2. This means my final answer is going to be 1 whole with 2 left over out of the same denominator of 5. And that is the quotient to this beginning math problem. Okay, take a minute and pause and review your notes, and I'll be right back with you for more instruction. Hey guys, remember to keep your notes out in your examples. And I'm going to ask that you take your second minor check. And minor checks do go into our grade book. So please make sure that you get this assignment finished and you're doing your best job, okay? A reminder, please use your notes. Take your time. It is due tonight by 11:59 p.m. You can use some of your class time to do it, and always do your best work, okay? To do this, remember, you're going to go into your Google Classroom under today's date, and you're simply going to click the link that says Minor Check 2.2 Multiplying and Dividing Fractions, and it will take you directly to the Google form. When you are finished, please work in Delta Math as you have time, and I look forward to seeing you normally on Tuesday, but Tuesday is a school holiday. So I will see you guys not until Wednesday. So I hope you have a fabulous Halloween, a restful November 3rd voting day, and are ready to practice and learn on Wednesday. Bye, guys.